Greetings. My name's Ollie, and here's your loaf of daily bread. Today's loaf comes to us by way of Nisargadatta Maharaj, and he says the following. Wisdom is knowing I am nothing. Love is knowing I am everything. And between the two, my life moves. Another paradox for you, my friends. Wisdom tells me I'm nothing, love tells me I'm everything, and 99% of the time I live somewhere in between. As is the case with all paradox, there is the perception of contradiction in the line. Because how can you be everything and nothing at the same time? Remember that paradox is not meant to be understood in the intellectual way, in the abstract. The reason it's so difficult for us to deal with paradox is that the left hemisphere is a binary system. It only deals with ones and zeros, with yes or no propositions. And a paradox is inherently confusing to the left hemisphere because it is a yes and no proposition. In this case, Maharaj says, on the one hand, I realize I'm nothing, and then on the other hand, I realize I'm everything. And to the left hemisphere, those are opposites. How can you possibly be both at once? And that's a fair question. I don't have an answer. All I have is speculation and observations. So here's what I think. First of all, Maharaj is using the word wisdom in the Vedantic form, which is actually more akin to the word discrimination. Not like when you discriminate against a person because of their race or gender, but when you discriminate between truth and falsehood, good and bad, reality and illusion, important stuff from unimportant stuff. This is the quality of wisdom as described in Vedanta. And so, how does wisdom lead you to this realization that you are nothing? Well, if you examine yourself and you play a little game I like to call Who Am I? And you continue to rule out all the things that you're not, eventually you will get to a place where all you can say with any confidence is that I am. The moment you add anything after that and you say I am a father, or I am Oliver, or I am a man, it ceases to be true. It's an incomplete truth. And so if you keep eliminating all the things that you thought were you but actually weren't, you're left with nothing. It's not that you become nothing. You're still here physically, and you still have a personality and a mind and all that stuff. It's just that you can't say what you are. And so there's no word to describe it. You say, I am. And there's nothing after. So to me, this is how I interpret it. If you apply wisdom to yourself and question who and what you are, eventually you will arrive at the realization that you are nothing. That there's no word or term or label that can possibly describe what you are. And when you realize that you're nothing, what you're doing is eliminating boundaries. You're eliminating labels. You're eliminating limitations. You're no longer confined to this body because you're not this body. You're no longer confined to this country because you don't identify with the country. It's kind of like when Hakuin says, forget yourself, become the universe, right? It's the exact same thing. In fact, when you realize that you're nothing, you become everything, because there is no distinction between your body and the rest of the cosmos, between you and your fellow human beings. It's all one. So that's how I interpret this. That's how I read the line. I'm not saying that it's the correct interpretation or the true interpretation. It's just how it makes sense to me. When you eliminate all the things you're not, you're left with nothing. And when you realize that you are nothing, you become everything, because there's nothing containing you. There's nothing limiting you. Nice parallel to the Hakuin quote. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to say farewell with the sun in my face. Hope you enjoyed it. And more importantly, I hope that you experience this realization one day. I know it probably sounds like a negative thing to realize that you're nothing, but it's not. It's the total opposite. It's freeing. Because when you're something, there's ownership involved. When you're this body or this role or this name, you own it, and you have to defend it, and you have to maintain it, and it's tiresome. It's exhausting. But when you realize that you're not any of these things, it's like freedom. It's like losing all of these anchors that were just weighing you down, and now you're free to be everything. It's pretty awesome. Hope to hear from you in the comments, and as always, live well.